Welcome back to my new video lectures. Myself Professor Pinkesh J. Patel from the Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. The journey of this college started in the field of engineering and technology as per the guideline of AICTE, that is the All India Council for Technical Education, New Delhi in 2004, and MGTER is approved by AICTE New Delhi and affiliated to GTU, that is the Gujarat Technological University, Ahmedabad. This institute is located at South Gujarat in peaceful and pollution-free environment of the western region of the country. The MGTER aims to provide value-based education. The motive behind to provide quality technical education at people's doorstep at an affordable cost. Not only studious activities, cultural activity held during the year at MGTER for the overall improvement of the student. So today I will start with the subject of interconnected power system, having a subject code of 2170901 BE 4th year 7th semester. So today I will start with the chapter number 3, that is the load flow studies. This is the flow of the contents. Introduction, static load flow equation, bus classification, approximate method, Gauss-Seidel method, Newton-Raphson method, first decoupled load flow method, comparison of different method, and example that is based on the all the methods. So in the last lecture already we have discussed about the introduction, static load flow equation, and bus classification. So today I will start with the approximate method. So before starting the approximate method, we will revise the whatever we have discussed inside the previous lecture. So we will start with the static load flow equation. So we will get the equation for the real and reactive power, which can be expressed as Pi, that is equal to summation of J is equal to 1 to n Yij Vj Vi cos theta Ij plus delta J minus delta I, that is the equation for the active power, whereas the reactive power, which is given by Qi, that is equal to minus of J is equal to 1 to n Yij Vj Vi sin theta Ij plus delta J minus delta I. This is the equation for the real and reactive power, which can be considered as a static load flow equation. Then voltage control buses and slack or swing buses, and based on the there are 4 parameters which be a part of the load flow solution, that is the voltage magnitude, then phase angle, then active power, and the reactive power. So how we will differentiate the slack bus, then PQ bus, and the PV bus? So slack bus, in that case voltage and phase angle that should be specified, whereas 2 unknown parameters, that is the active power and reactive power. If we will go for the PQ bus, so in that case active power and reactive power which can be specified, whereas we have to calculate the value of voltage and phase angle with the help of load flow solution. And if we will go for the PV bus, that is the regulated bus, so in that case value of the voltage magnitude and active power which can be specified, whereas value of phase angle and the reactive power, that is the unknown. So this is regarding to the bus classification, that is already we have discussed inside the last lecture. So today I will start with the lecture of approximate method, a simple or approximate solution which can be possible in that case. So in the approximate method we have to make some following assumptions. So first one, that is the small line resistance are neglected, which means active power loss in the line is 0, that is equal to theta Ik, that is equal to 90 degree, that we have to be assumed inside the equation of active power and the reactive power. Then after second one, that is the voltage magnitude at various must be within the limit. Third one, that is the active and reactive generated power at different equal to the load plus losses. Fifth one, that is the system stability consideration imposes a limit on the maximum value with delta. Sixth one, that all the buses other than the slack buses are PV buses. That is the voltage magnitude at all the buses including the slack buses are specified. And last one, that is the angle of delta I is so small, so that we will assume that sine delta I, that is equal to delta I. So based on the above assumption, we will get the equation for the active power and reactive power, which can be given by Pi is equal to Vi summation of k is equal to 1 to n Vk Yik delta I minus delta k, where I is equal to 1 to n times. Same way, we will get the equation for the reactive power, which can be given by Qi is equal to minus of Vi, k is equal to 1 to n, where k that is not equal to I, and Vk Yik cos delta I minus delta k plus Yi square Yii, where I is equal to 1 to n times. So this is the equation for the active power and reactive power that we will get for the approximate method. So this is the things that is regarding to the approximate method, which can be used for the calculation of the active power and reactive power in the load flow solution. Now we will go for the various method that can be used for the load flow solution. First one, that is the Gauss iterative method, then Gauss-Seidel method, Newton-Raphson method, which can be considered as an Anand method. So let's start with the first one, that is the Gauss iterative method, which can be useful for the load flow solution. So this method is useful for non-linear algebraic equation. This is the very most important point for the Gauss iterative method as well as Gauss-Seidel method. Then it is a trial and error method and provides a sufficiently accurate numerical solution. There are some of the steps which can be used for the find out the problem with the help of Gauss iterative method. First one, that is the Gauss or guess the initial solution approximately, then guess the solution in use in conjunction with the original equation to compute a new and more accurate estimate for the solution. Third one, that is the second estimate is used to find the third estimate. And the fourth one, that is the process which can be it is continued until the difference between the successive estimate is extremely negligible. So if we will go for the calculation, and if we will get the answer in between the last two iteration that is very nearer, then after we will go for the final decision, and then we will get the final result. Otherwise, whatever the iteration that should be take place in between that, which is that is not considered. So there are some of the disadvantages of the Gauss iterative method. First one, that is this method require an extremely large number of iterations to reach sufficiently close to the solution, but with the use of computers it may not be. If the solution does not exist, or if the iteration process is divergent. So these are the two disadvantages of the Gauss iterative method, and very most important disadvantage, that is the it may having a large number of iteration. The main aim for the load flow studies that we have to try to reduce the number of iteration as well as the time per iteration. So this is regarding to the Gauss iterative method. Now we will go for the second method, that is the Gauss-Seidel method, which is also known as the GS method. So this is one of the simplest iteration method. this method is the modification to the Gauss iterative method. Then this modification that can reduce to the number of iteration. So this is the main aim for the load flow studies. So that's why we will go for the another method, that is the Gauss-Seidel method. So it is suitable for the power flow study of small power system. So to solve the load flow problem by GS method, we will consider two cases. First one, that is the when PV buses are absent, and second one, that is the PV bus are present. So there are two cases that can be a part of the Gauss-Seidel method. So we will start with the first one, that is the case number 1, GS method when the PV buses are absent. So at that time, how we will get the equation for the active power, reactive power and the voltage that be a part of the GS method. GS method, in that case again the PV buses are absent. N times, same way y1 y11 y12 up to n times and v1 v2 up to n times, because we know the equation for the admittance, that is I is equal to yv. So in general, the equation for the bus number 1 can be written as y11 v1 plus y12 v2 plus y13 v3, that is equal to I1, that we will write for the I1. Same way for the bus number 2, we will write, that is the y21 v1 plus y22 v2 plus y23 v3, that is equal to I2. And same way we will write the equation for the bus number 3, that is the y31 v1 plus y32 v2 plus y33 v3, that is equal to I3. So this is regarding to the equation for the bus number 1, 2, and there are 3 buses which is connected in the power system. So in general, we will write the equation II is equal to summation of Yik into Vk, where k is equal to 1 to n times. So general expression of the complex power, we will write the equation S is equal to P plus Jq, or we will write that is equal to Si is equal to Vi into Ii star, that is equal to Pi plus Jqi. So for the bus number 2, we will write the equation, that is P2 plus Jq2, that is equal to V2 I2 star, because this is the equation in terms of complex complex power, and complex power having an equation, that is V2 I2 star. So what we will write the equation for the I2? So if we will rearrange the equation, then equation that is become I2 star, that is equal to P2 plus Jq2 divided by V2. That is the will take the complex conjugate, then what kind of equation that we will get? So we will write the equation I2 is equal to P2 minus Jq2 divided by V2 star. So this is the equation for the I2. So substitute the expression for the I2 into the equation for the bus number 2. So we will get the equation of y21 v1 plus y22 v2 plus y23 v3, that is equal to P2 minus Jq2 v2 star. So from the equation, the expression of the v2 that can be written that can be determined as y22 v2 is equal to P2 minus Jq2 divided by V2 star minus y21 v1 plus y23 v3. Again we will try to rearrange the equation. That equation that may be written as V2 is equal to 1 upon y22 in the bracket P2 minus Jq2 divided by V2 star minus y21 v1 plus y23 v3. This is the equation for the V2. So if we will try to write down the equation in terms of general form, so in general the expression of voltage at the ith bus can be written as, if inside the power system having a total of I bus, then what kind of equation that we will write? So Vi, that is equal to 1 upon Yii in the bracket Pi minus Jqi divided by Vi star minus summation of k is equal to I 1 to n, where k is equal to not I, Yik into Vk, where I is equal to 1 to n times, that is not equal to 1, 2 to n times that is not equal to 1 is a slack bus. Known as the GS method. So in iterative having a R plus 1 form, the voltage at the ith bus can be expressed as Vi raised to R plus 1, that is equal to 1 upon Yii, the bracket Pi minus jqi Vi star raised to R minus I summation of k is equal to I to I minus 1 Yik Vk raised to R plus 1 minus summation of k is equal to I plus 1 to n times Yik into V raised to R. This is the equation for the GS method. In that case, up to now we have assumed that is the when PV buses are absent. Now we will go for the case number 2. In that case, we will assume that GS method when the PV buses are the present. So in the power system, some of the buses in the n bus system are voltage control bus, that is the PV bus, where P and V are the specified and Q and delta are the unknown or we have to determine. So let's the buses of the buses be numbered as I, that is equal to 1, which can be considered as a slack bus. Second one, that is the I is equal to 2 to m times, which is considered as a PV bus or the voltage control bus. Third one, that is the I is equal to m plus 1 comma m plus 2 up to n times, that is considered as a PQ bus. This is the assumptions that we have taken for the PV buses are present inside the GS method. So for the voltage control bus, the voltage of bus Vi must be equal to the specified voltage limit, that is the Vi specified. The maximum and minimum reactive power at these buses are also specified. So we have to check the reactive power voltage, that is specified value of the voltage Vi, and that is for the I is equal to 2 to m times. Second one, that is the Qi minimum less than Qi, that is minimum Qi maximum. So second requirement may be violated if the specified bus voltage, that is either too high or either too low. So it is to be noted that it is possible to control voltage only by the controlling the reactive power. So if we will go for the controlling of the voltage, firstly we have to calculate the reactive power. So Qi that may be lies between the minimum and maximum limit, that is given by Qi is equal to minus of imaginary Vi star k is equal to 1 to n times Yik Vk. Same way for the R plus 1th iteration, we will write the equation Qi raised to R plus 1, that is equal to minus Im Vi R raised to star k is equal to summation of k is equal to 1 to I minus 1 Yik Vk raised to R plus 1 plus Yi raised to R raised to star summation of k is equal to I to n Yik Vk raised to R, where I is equal to m plus 1 m plus 2 up to n times. Minus Im means the imaginary part of the system. The revised value of delta which can be found, we will get the equation delta I raised to R plus 1, that is equal to having an angle of Vi raised to R plus 1. So this is the equation for the delta I. So angle of Pi minus jqi Vi raised to star minus summation of k is equal to I plus 1 raised to n Yik into V raised to star. Again we will go for the this is the equation for the Gauss-Seidel method, that is already we have get it inside the previous theory, that is equal to angle Pi minus jqi divided by Yii V raised to star raised to R minus summation of k is equal to 1 to I minus 1 Yik divided by Yii Vk into R plus 1 minus summation of k is equal to I plus 1 raised to n Yik divided by Yii into V raised to star. So from that we will get the three parameters. First one, that is the ai raised to r plus 1. Second one, that is the bik. So we will assume that is equal to angle ai raised to r plus 1 vi raised to r raised to star minus summation of k is equal to 1 to I minus 1 bik vk r plus 1 minus summation of k is equal to I plus 1 to n times bik into vk raised to r for the rth bus, we will say that. So we have assumed there are two parameters ai and bik. So what is the ai and bi that is stand for? So we will write some constant ai raised to r plus 1 that is equal to pi minus j q raised to r plus 1 divided by yii, that is I is equal to m plus 1 up to n times. Same way bik, that is equal to yik divided by yii, I is equal to 2 to n times, and k is equal to 2 up to n times r plus 1 to see if it is within the limit or not. So for that we will write qi raised to r plus 1, that is the qi minimum, qi maximum, and qi r plus 1. So if qi r plus 1 less than or equal to qi minimum, then second one, that is the qi r plus 1 greater than or equal to qi maximum, and third one, that is the qi minimum, that is less than qi r plus 1 less than qi maximum, where I is equal to m plus 1 m plus 2 up to n times. So if any limit that may be we will say that is the maximum value or the minimum value that may be violated, then that bus is treated as the PQ buses. But if the subsequent computation iteration, that is a qi raised to r plus 1, comes within the limit, then this bus is converted in terms of PV bus. So to final this step in the load flow study, calculation of the line flows, we will assume there is a one figure. In that case, there are ith and k bus that is connected over there. This is the line represented of pi circuit. So the current IIK and complex power SIK can be calculated as follows. First one, that is the IIK. So based on the figure, it is clear that IIK, that is the summation of two currents IIK1 plus IIK0, and we know the equation for the admittance. I is equal to, we will write Vi minus Vk into Yik plus Vi Yik0. Then after complex power, that is given by Sik, that is equal to Pik plus star minus Vk star into Yik star plus Vi into Vi star into Yiko star. So this is the equation for the current and the complex power. So the power flow over all the buses can be calculated. The power loss in the line connecting the I, and if we will connect the I and K bus in the power system, so we will get this is given by Sik plus Ski, and the total transmission loss in the sum of the losses over the line that may be calculated. The advantages of the GS method, that is the simplicity of the techniques, small computer memory that may be required. Then third one, that is the least computational time for the per iteration. Same way, having some disadvantages of the GS method. First one, that is the slow rate of the convergence and thus large number of iteration. Increase of number of iterations directly with the increased number of buses. And third one, effect on convergence due to choice of slack bus. So it is clear that inside the Gauss-Seidel method, the time per iteration that should be less, whereas GS method having a large number of iteration. So this is the things that is regarding to the Gauss-Seidel method. Now an accelerating factor is commonly used in load flow studies using GS method. So solution using GS method that may factor which can be depend upon the system parameters, and the optimum value of the alpha that may be vary in between 1.2 to 1.6, and most probably we will take the value of alpha that is equal to 1.6 that may be used widely in the power system. So this is the one kind of factor which can be used inside the GS method for the calculation of the solving the load flow solution. Now we will go for the flow chart for the load flow solution by Gauss-Seidel method, and there is a one more parameter that is considered as an algorithm for the Gauss-Seidel method. So before starting for the flow chart, we will go for the algorithm. Whatever the step that should be a part of the algorithm, that all the part that should be also mentioned inside the flow chart. So we will start the first one, that is the read load data and formulate the Y-bus matrix. So this is the step that is given inside the flowchart. Also read the load data, primitive matrix, then bus incidence matrix, slack bus voltage V and delta that is the specify inside the slack bus, then true bus powers that is we will say that is the Pi for I is equal to 2 to n times, then reactive power that is Qi is equal to Qi for I is equal to m plus 1 m plus 2 up to n times, that is considered as a load buses. Then voltage magnitudes that is the Vi for I is equal to 2 to m times generator buses. Then voltage magnitude that is within the limits Vi minimum and Vi max for the load buses. Then the reactive power limits that is the Qi minimum and Qi maximum for the generator buses. For I is equal to m plus 1 m plus 2 up to n times. This is the step number 2. So based on that we will formulate the Y bus. After that we will formulate the Y bus, and then after based on the algorithm step number 2, that we will make the initial assumptions, that is the Vi 0 for I is equal to m plus 1 m plus 2 up to n times, and delta I0 for I is equal up 2 to m times. Then after we will go for the step number 3, that is the compute AI and BIK. Step number 3, that is the compute AI and BIK. So compute parameter AI for I is equal to m plus 1 m plus 2 n up to n times, and BIK for I is equal to 1 to n times, and k is equal to 1 to n times, except k is equal to I, because bus number 1 that is considered as a slack bus. Go for the step number 4, that is set iteration count R is equal to 0. Set, so that's why which is written over here, set iteration count R is equal to 0. Step number 5, that is the set bus count I is equal to 0. Set bus count I is equal to 2. So set bus count I is equal to 2, and delta V maximum that is equal to 0. Then after we have to check the condition. If the bus is PQ bus, then compute Vi raised to R plus 1, compute delta Vi R plus 1, and if delta Vi R plus is equal to Vi R plus 1. So now again that we will see inside the flowchart also. We will check the condition for the if the PQ bus, if the bus is PQ. If the then after we will check for the type of test for the type of bus, and that is the I less than or equal to m, or we will say that, and how we will say that is the PQ bus or PV bus, that is depend upon the what kind of condition in between the I and m. So if the bus is PQ bus, so for that we will say that is the I less than m, I greater than m. So in that case we will say that is the PQ bus, and that is given to the point number 3. So point number 3, that is come over here. Point number 3, that is come over here. And if the bus is PV bus, if the bus is PV bus, so in that case compute the QI r plus 1. Again in that case we have to assume the two condition, that is the QI r plus 1 greater than or equal to QI maximum, and again that is yes, then we will go for the QI r plus 1 that is greater than or equal to QI minimum, and again this condition that should be true, then we will set the VIR by VI specific and treat delta I as the phase angle of VI specified. If this condition that should be wrong, then that is given to the point number 4 and point number 5. So point number 4 and point number 5, which is mentioned over here, point number 4 and point number 5. Then go for the step number 7. If the bus is PV bus, then we have already calculated these two one, and that is replaced by these. Compute new value of AI. Then after step number 9, compute VI r plus 1. Compute new value, compute VI r plus 1. Then after in that step we have to take the one assumption, that is check the del V r plus 1 that is greater than del V max. If no, then replace the VIR by VIR plus 1, and if the condition is true, then set the del V max that is equal to del V IR plus 1. So now in the table we will check the condition. If the condition is true, compute the del V IR plus 1. If the condition is true, then we will set the del V max that is equal to del V IR plus 1, and if the condition is false, then we will replace the VIR by VIR plus 1 and advance the bus count by 1. Now go for the step number 12, that is check all the buses are taken into account. If I less than n, then go to the step number 5 and repeat. Check the condition I less than n, then we will again back to the step number 5, and it can reach to the point number step number 5 that is connected to the point number 2. Then if the condition is no, then we will go for the further procedure, that is they check the convergence. If del V max that is greater than epsilon, then increment go for the del V max that is less than or equal to epsilon, and this condition that is wrong, then again we will go for the advanced iteration count r is equal to r plus 1, and which is connected at the point number 1 inside the flow chart. And if the condition is true, then we will go for the next step, that is the calculate the line power flows and slack bus power that is given by Pi plus JQI. So if the condition is true, then we will go for the compute the slack bus power Pi plus JQI and all the line power flows, and we will print out the data, and finally we will go for the final step, that is the n. So we will stop the system over here. So this is the things that is regarding to the flowchart and the algorithm, which is be a part of the Gauss-Seidel method. So this is the finishing of the algorithm and flowchart of the GS method or the Gauss-Seidel method. Now we will go for the, there are some of the questions that should be asked inside the GTU papers. So based on the today's discussion, there is a one question that should be asked, that is why bus admittance matrix is used in the Gauss-Seidel instead of bus admittance matrix, which can be asked inside the summer 2019 and having a total of 4 marks. Then after there is a one more question, that is the explain GS method with the help of flowchart. and which is asked inside the winter 2018 and having a total of 7 marks. So if we will know about the algorithm, then after we will easily draw the flow chart for the GS method. So from the today's lecture, we will discuss about the Gauss iterative method, then after Gauss Seidel method. In that case, we have assumed the two cases, PV bus that is present and PV bus is absent. Then after we will go for the advantages and disadvantages of the Gauss Seidel method. Then after we have discussed about the flow chart and the algorithm of the Gauss Seidel method. So in the next lecture, we will go for the next method, that is the Newton-Raphson method. In that case, also we will learn about the Newton-Raphson method, how it works, how it can be beneficial to the power flow, load flow solution. Then advantages and disadvantages of the Newton-Raphson method. Then the algorithm and flow chart of the Newton-Raphson method. So that we will discuss in the next lecture. Thank you.